This News Special Report. Gulf Showdown, the home front.
Good morning, I'm Don Lark, Channel 3 News, reporting live overnight from the home front as Connecticut officials and families with servicemen and women on station in Saudi Arabia, also one former hostage, react to the overwhelming U.S. airstrike still underway against Iraq. The U.S. and its allies running the war from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, where, as you might have seen, the first video is beginning to come back. The workhorse of the invasion, the F-15E, a modified F-15 Eagle, considered to be the most sophisticated night aircraft in the world. Well, with us live tonight is one of Saddam Hussein's former human shields. Ex-hostage Uwe Jahnke is on the Eyewitness Newsline from his home in the Litchfield County town of Washington Depot. Mr. Jahnke, thank you for joining us at this hour of the morning.
Good morning, Don.
Now, we understand that, like millions of other people tonight, you've been monitoring the network television coverage of this war. Did you ever think it would come to this?
Well, I was hopeful that after the 15th passed, that perhaps there would still be an opportunity for peace. Now you've taken the heat off of Saddam Hussein. You didn't give him a deadline, and so I was hopeful that perhaps in the next couple of days there would be a little bit of overture.
Now, Uwe, first reports of the bombing were from Baghdad. How familiar are you with some of the primary targets there?
Not very much. I mean, I do know that Samarra up in the north and also Mosul up in the north. Mosul was a place where missile sites were, and some of the French hostages were there. That my fellow American was hiding out in Kuwait was up in Samarra, where there's a chemical plant, and so I noticed that on the screens that both of these can be targets.
Now, where had you been held in the time of your captivity?
I was in a military camp or base about 35 miles southeast of Baghdad. It's a very large place, and we were just in one part of it. I also noticed that the map seemed to show it was a chemical plant there, which is very likely. There were certainly munition bunkers right outside of our building.
Of course, continuously tonight you had to reflect you were almost there in the middle of it, I imagine.
Indeed. I'm after hearing what apparently are some large successes from our side, I'm very glad I wasn't there.
Well, Uwe Jahnke, again, we thank you for joining us live tonight from your home in Washington Depot, and we expect that we'll be calling on you as the bombing campaign continues in the war in the Persian Gulf. Thank you.
Okay, Bob. Done.
Well, we have reaction tonight from Washington, where Senator Dodd and Congresswoman Nancy Johnson were on opposite sides of the vote last weekend, authorizing the president to use force against Iraq. Johnson voted yes in the House. Dodd said no in the Senate. Tonight, while both expressed their disappointment that diplomatic efforts failed to bring about Iraq's withdrawal from Kuwait, they agree it's time to stand behind the president and our troops.
What we can do is hope that it ends quickly and that Saddam Hussein pulls out of Kuwait. Possibly it'll end this evening. Maybe he'll get the message now that there's no way out for him in all of this, and we just hope it ends quickly.
It is time to back our boys and girls, our women overseas, to back our president, and to win this in as narrow a window as possible, as decisively as possible, and achieve just the goals of the UN resolution.
Well, so far tonight, aside from Saddam Hussein, the only world leader to publicly condemn the U.S. attack has been Fidel Castro from Cuba. At Westover Air Force Base, another New England Reserve unit is waiting to fly out for Saudi Arabia tonight, and protesters came out to the front gate once the U.S. bombing campaign was well underway. Channel 3's David Ushery has been at the base all evening and joins us with a live report on events. David, first, what is that unit, the reservists who are out there now?
Don, the 94th Military Police Company out of Manchester, New Hampshire is inside waiting and relaxing and trying to anyway before they ship out about 3 o'clock this morning. We're outside the main gate here at Westover Air Force Base, all non-military personnel having to clear off the base for the night. It's quiet and well lit here now. It has been a busy night at Westover, but in many ways no busier than usual. Since the crisis began, Westover has been a key component of Operation Desert Shield, transporting thousands of troops over. And of course, now that war's upon us, it will remain as such. Now, there you see members of the 94th Military Police Company arriving. They'll check some weapons. They were trying to relax tonight. That at some points they tossed a little football around. They were watching news accounts, but they were admittedly nervous and tight-lipped about it. They've been training in Fort Devens for about 5 weeks, and they were training for war. War is upon us now, and they must go. Meanwhile, outside, about 50 demonstrators showed up in front of the main gate to protest the war action, of course. Chicopee police moving in and arresting about 15 of them, and they'll be charged with disturbing the peace. And this, of course, coming off the heels of last night's huge protest where about 5,000 gathered here at Westover Air Force Base. Security is tighter here at the base. It has been all day. They're at a higher level of threat condition, and that is they are seeking higher security against terrorist attacks. They took that action prior to the air raid this evening, and officials here indicated that they didn't know anything about war being declared tonight. So, Don, it's been a busy night, but perhaps no busier than usual here at Westover.
Yeah, the bombing campaign, we understand, has not scaled back their operation at all. But has it changed attitudes there, David, among the reservists who are going over?
Well, you know, we talked to many of them here. They're sitting. Some of them are tight-lipped, but others are, in fact, eager to go. I talked to one Marine who's waiting to ship out on a separate flight, and he was, in fact, sent home because he had injured his leg, and he just couldn't wait to get back. I think they're all getting the proper mindset now that they'll need to go over there and deal with the war-like conditions, of course, and they are ready to go. But, of course, you know, as we've been reporting all along throughout the crisis, these are reservists, most of them, and they leave families, and they were busy on the phone tonight just as we were leaving, probably trying to call them. And so it's kind of a resoluteness, but they have a job that they have to do, but, you know, they're definitely kind of somber tonight.
Well, okay, David, we're about to wrap up, but as you say, they are reservists. They're primarily going to be ground troops. Perhaps their ground role has changed a little bit tonight. We'll see. Thank you, David Ushery. Well, a reminder, we'll be here with Channel 3 news updates from the home front every hour at 23 minutes past the hour through the night. Our CBS News coverage continues. I'm Don Lark reporting.